Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. A woke civilization is no civilization at all. There is nothing civil about it, in fact. One of the central tenets of wokeism is that white males are the enemy because they are the oppressors. And who are the oppressed? The victims? Well, essentially, everyone else, more or less. An oddball exception is made for elite white males, think like Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, John Kerry, for example, who go along with the narrative publicly, but privately surrender nothing of their so-called white privilege. In fact, hypocrites like that, far from surrendering their influence, actually enhance their wealth and power in such an environment. So there is a strange set of rules governing all this. Old white males, Soros, Fauci, Gates, most of Congress, are constantly preaching and financing an insurrection against who? Old white males and the patriarchy they portray it to be. If you're not a white male, but still a male, and you don't go along with this, then you get pounced on from the like-minded. But again, it's a weird set of rules here. A few days ago, black Republican Senator Tim Scott was talking about his distaste for wokeism and the damage it causes. Right on cue, Obama attacked him. But the irony here is Obama is half white, enjoying all the privilege of that half, while Scott is all black. Obama has 3 spacious mansions, Martha's Vineyard, Kalorama, and a beachfront difficult-to-get-to property in Hawaii. Not bad for making just $400K a year as president. It seems whatever the rules are here in the land of the woke don't follow any organized pattern. Old, wealthy white males lecturing blacks or Hispanics about how they should rise up and seize control from old, wealthy white males. Wouldn't it be easier for the old, wealthy white males to just give up their wealth and then try to, instead of conjuring a revolution? I mean, if they feel that strongly about it, that would be an easy solution. But the reality is this has nothing to do at all with white males per se. It's just that it's mostly white male fingerprints all over Western civilization. And here we go. And since the object of their scorn is Western civilization and the Catholic Church that built it, they are fighting a phony war against white males when the real war is against God and his Catholic Church. Western civilization is just something standing in the way. They don't like Trump, for example, kind of same principle here, who is certainly no paragon of the morality that formed Western civilization, but compared to the current crop of leaders, he comes closest to that image, and therefore he must be destroyed. Sure, they don't like him because of the whole drain the swamp message and how it would upset their apple carts, but that is not the real issue. America, as it was once constituted, was at least a good stand-in for some things good about Western civilization, and that Trump trumpets America, and that understanding of it, well, that can't be tolerated. MAGA undoes everything these woke mobsters have been working at destroying for decades. A resurgence of the former America simply cannot be allowed to happen. The fingerprints of the woke mob are all over everything going wrong these days, all in the name of bringing down the white male civilization, which is really the Catholic civilization. Doesn't matter if it's sexual deviancy involving children, or phony climate change, or even women's sports with men competing in it. An oppressor class has to be pointed out and then revolted against, and that class is always the same, which is why you see such intersection of all the pretend victim classes around all these issues. It's fine, for example, for Gavin Newsom, old white male, of California to eliminate gas-fueled vehicles in the next few years from his woke state. Fine for him, that is. He likely can afford the outrageous sum of cash you have to lay out to get an electric vehicle, not to mention that the battery craps out much faster than most realize, and to replace costs essentially the same as just buying a new car. And speaking of those batteries, they come from slave labor overseas, just like Nike shoes. In the world's poorest, truly victimized classes, No woke love for those children doing all that cobalt mining. And the production as well as charging of these batteries emits more poison into the environment than just tooling around in your old Chevy or old Dodge. But of course, it's that weird rule in woke land that the rules don't really have to make sense and they're not equally applied. That's the governing principle of wokeism. So you never really know what's going on. The people ruling the kingdom of woke declare that their race, sex, and power are the enemy, and yet they relinquish nothing of their own privilege. They develop proxy wars over issues like the climate, but they do nothing themselves to actually save the planet. Private jets, they're not exactly the cleanest emission-friendly means of transportation. All of this only makes sense when you view it through a single prism of what their real motive is, the overthrow of Catholicism as an ordered governing system for civilization, complete, of course, with its moral code. The wealthy never suffer the consequences of their own actions, not the rich, the wealthy. The rules they lay down for others do not apply to them, such as the insulating power of extreme wealth. For example, does anyone think the very wealthy will suffer if America ends up in a war with China or some limited proxy skirmish over Taiwan or something? Almost half of Americans, according to a recent survey by Rasmussen, think war with China is in the near future. Almost half, 44%. And while U.S. servicemen are being outfitted for the latest woke ideology and slipping into their high heels, China is amassing quite the empire on the other side of the Pacific. But the woke elite are only able to get away with all this, and by all of this we mean explicitly, destroying you and your families because they are allowed to. They bank on most people being either stupid and buying into their claptrap or being indifferent and uninvolved. So far, for the most part, they've been right on all of that, which is why school boards call the cops on concerned parents, and they get away with it. But like we saw with Bud Light and Target and the Dodgers, there does seem to be a pushback against all of this emerging here. That's a large contributor to Tucker's success on Twitter since Fox News dumped him. And where will it all go? How long lasting? What, if any, momentum does it sustain? Those are questions only God knows the answer to, for now anyway. What we do know is that some sort of pushback is developing. People are immigrating in record numbers from blue states to red states. Various products are being boycotted. The good guys do seem to be rallying, at least somewhat. Will this slow the woke crowd, or will it embolden them to become even more aggressive? Well, the smart money, based on the past, is on them becoming even more aggressive. The only remaining mystery then will be what or how the good guys will respond. That's you guys. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.